On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, how to pay off debt faster. So, welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Sean Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined, as always, by your financial coach, the best financial coach. Well, I can't even say that anymore, can I?
No,
I
you
can't
can't.
say
You
it
can't.
today.
You can say it always, but it's okay. But no, yes.
George Curbello, how you doing, George?
How are you, sir? I'm doing well. Happy days. Happy the spring, and we're springing forward, and the weather is nice, and the pollen is out, and it's a good day, brother. It's a
Yeah.
very good day. But how you doing?
I am doing well. I'm still coming off a little bit of an adrenaline high.
Ooh.
I did my presentation today for my networking for my BNI chapter, and I talked a little bit about the Purple Stride Walk, which
Oh,
I've
nice.
mentioned on the show a bunch. I'm going to probably start mentioning it a little bit more over the next coming month. But for those that don't know, the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, PanCan for short, has their Purple Stride Walk all over the country on this year, 2026. April 25, Saturday, April 2025. And so we've been raising money for PanCan even before my wife passed
All
in
right.
2023. We've been raising money for PanCan. We're doing it again this year. So far, the last I looked, I was the number 27 team in Tampa Bay.
Nice.
I did get a good amount of donations today. 2 years ago, I was the number three team. Last year, I was the number nine team. I want to be the number one team in
Yeah.
Tampa Bay.
Top
So,
10, top five, top
yeah,
three.
no, number
No,
one.
number one. Okay.
So,
I like it.
if you're listening to this episode, normally I would do this at the end, but I'm going to put it right up front. If you're listening to this week's episode, I put the link to join the PanCan team. I would very much appreciate if you wanted to donate towards Purple Stride and pancreatic cancer and the PanCan. But
Yeah.
let's move on to some happier
Do
topics.
I just want to say though, I was in the audience and I was fanboying over your presentation today. You did fantastic,
Thank
and
you.
I have to say you are one of the best networking guys. But dude, you're amazing at what you do. And again, if you're not supporting the cause yet, the links in the show notes. Support today. I would agree with you on that, brother. But good job
Cool.
today. I got to say, good job on your presentation, my
Thank
friend.
you, sir. I appreciate it. But I know that our listeners want to know what the heck I'm talking about and how to pay off debt faster.
Oh, that's is that what we do normally? Yeah, that's
That's
normally what we do. But
typically
that
what we do.
I like it.
So, again, to kind of get even with me for having attorneys on the show, George has brought us a another financial coach.
Dude, it's we got April coming with we have April with Financial Literacy Month, and I just said at 2026 we're gonna have some goals of coaches all over Sean Yesner, but I thought it was a good idea, and I think it's these are great interviews, so
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. So I'm going to introduce this week's guest. There's a moment a lot of solopreneurs hit. They're putting in the work, the business is moving, and yet the financial reward just doesn't match the effort. Our guest built her entire practice around that moment. As a financial coach and the founder of Weekly Debt Plan, she helps small business owners who are running on personal credit cards and avoiding their finances get clear on where their money is actually going so they can stop the cycle and start paying themselves what they actually deserve. No budgeting lectures, no accountant speak, just real clarity and a path forward. Welcome our guest, Nancy Ward. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
So, I guess the first question right out of the gate, when I started the law firm, it was brand new. It's a brand new LLC. I couldn't find any bank that would give me a credit card in the law firm name. And when I finally did find a bank that would give me a credit card in the law firm name, they made me sign a personal guarantee. But before I could find that credit card, before I could create that relationship with my bank, what I did was I had a personal credit card that happened to have a zero balance that was in my name personally. And I still use that card to this day. But the only charges that go on it are charges related to the law firm, and then the law firm pays the card at the end of the month.
Mhm.
Um, Now I know that's not the right way to do things, but is it that simple? I mean, is the reason that most business owners do that because most banks won't give credit to startup businesses?
There is that, but also too, as a solopreneur, you're not ready to make those big decisions in order to go to a bank and get get an account and get a credit card, because most of the times the business accounts are going to charge you for just having the account open, and you look at it and go, well, I'm not even got money coming in. Why am I paying the bank a fee every single month? So a lot of solopreneurs do that. They get started, they just use their personal accounts and don't really think about it. And a lot of them mix everything, put it on a personal, their normal credit card. But
Right.
you've got one step ahead where you actually took one personal credit card and only used it for business expenses, which is great because in theory, every single month you can look at your personal credit card and say, oh, this is how much the business expenses were for the month.
Right.
So there it is a lot more cleaner. So I'm sure your accountant really enjoyed that because they could see exactly what was being spent on the business. Yes, it wasn't on a company credit card, but it was still a clean divide between your personal purchases and your business purchases.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because what most people are afraid of, especially with attorneys, is this concept of piercing the corporate veil, this concept of my business is going to do something that creates some legal liability, and now they're going to sue me as the business owner personally.
Mhm.
One of the things that potentially opens the door for that to happen is if I had commingled. If I was
Right.
putting law firm expenses on this personal card, but then one day I had to go to the bank, and so I put bank expenses on the personal card, and then I paid my personal car payment on the card. I paid my kids' tuition on the card. Then I paid for the office supplies for the office on the card. That commingling is what creates a lot of the problems. So
Hmm.
Right.
I totally agree with you. And I do have other cards. And so I have the one card that I use just for the business, and I have the one card that I use just for personal. And you're right, it makes a clean break.
Right. And nowadays it's so much easier to just go online. I have Chase as my personal credit cards. How many times do I go in my app and they're always promoting, hey, do you want a business card? Do you want a business card? Do you want a business card? So one day I said, sure, why not? I'll get a business card. I can use it for whatever kind of purchases. They gave me 0% for a year. I said, I got nothing to lose. But the thing is that they're using your personal credit in order to, because they don't have no idea what your business credit is. So they're using your personal credit, which is no big deal as long as you've got a good personal credit, a personal credit score. But at least that starts to build something. So I only got, I think, close to $4,000, but that's good enough. That helps
Yeah.
me to add my expenses for Zoom and Canva and the small little things that I can, the reoccurring payments every single month, but at least
So yeah.
Yeah, that so I would say for us the
this on
having.
a business credit card
Oh, there you go. So part of the commingling that seems to get a lot of the solopreneurs in trouble in the beginning, right? We put
in the beginning.
in the
Hmm.
beginning, it's kind of like just that mixture of like, I can pay this, I can do this, I can go to, get my business expenses, training, everything into to one card. But again, the tax man doesn't like that, right? And again, as a solopreneur, are you doing? I'm assuming I'm doing my taxes. I don't really go to an accountant right away. So again, these are the little mistakes where, and again, you're learning, right? We go in passionate about, like, I just want to be a great coach, but oh, by the
Right.
way, I'm also a business owner that has to think about, the marketing, the accounting, and and the expenses. So these are things that if you can get someone who can provide that support early on, these are things we say avoid, as part of that. Because everybody who starts a business probably goes through this, except Sean. Sean was amazing from the beginning. So, we just want to, clarify that. But these are great points to kind of call out right away.
Yeah.
Well, and the one downfall of it all is that you're putting things on the personal credit card. No big deal. You're getting started in your business, but when the tax time comes around, if you forget to pull out those expenses from your personal credit card and have the receipts to apply to your Schedule C, you've lost those deductions.
Right.
So having that clean break is really helpful because then you know exactly, you don't have to either have that huge shoebox of receipts or have it all stuck in your email.
Oh, I love that stuff stuck in my email.
Yeah.
That's just me. But let me, I want to know the origin story for the weekly planner, right? I want to know, Nancy, where's the beginning for this? And for me, what is the weekly planner program? Because that's see, I see you again, those who are paying on Patreon are seeing behind you. There's a financial weekly planner guide there. So that's
Yeah.
my curiosity. Again, give us some insight there.
Okay, so here's where your vulnerability comes out. Before I got married, I was $40,000 in credit card debt and a car payment, and I was paying interest. And funny enough, when I was doing some things as a financial coach, I was looking at some past credit cards and I had a balance transfer and then I had a promotional transfer on top of that. I said, what the heck was I thinking? That I, I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was just so desperate. I didn't have a good job in order to have enough money and I was just putting everything on the credit card. So fast forward, got married, got rid of the debt. Fast forward a little bit more, got a divorce.
Okay.
Got into more debt.
Well, I knew I was going to get into more debt, but I said to myself, this time I am going to figure out a better way in order to deal with this. And I wanted to make sure that I was not going to have those huge 9, 10, 12, 18%, because that's what it was back then. I did do my research. I had 9% back then. And that was
I'll
that was
take 9%
aggressive.
today. That would be great.
Oh my gosh, exactly.
Right now it's
Exactly.
29%. It's like what a deal you had.
No kidding. So I vowed to myself I am not going to pay a lot of money for interest rates. And so
Mhm.
I would do balance transfers. And then for some crazy reason, American Express said, "Hey, you can buy whatever you want and we'll give you the pay it planet for zero for 2 years." I'm like, woohoo! I'm there. Let me go ahead and prepay my car insurance, my house insurance, whatever. Thousands of dollars, but I knew I had 2 years to pay it at 0%.
Mm.
So I had that. I had some balance transfers because again, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was going back into the workforce, obviously not making much money, making a little bit more than minimum wage. How was I going to afford everything? I was getting payments of different times. So I had a direct sales business, a little bit of money twice a month. I got paid with my part-time job twice a month. I got my child support once a well, at that point twice a month. So I had money coming in so many different times of the month. So I decided to take those balance transfers and divide it by how many weeks it was due until.
Okay.
And let's say it was divide the money and it was like $37.25. Great, $40 a week. I knew that I could afford $40 a week. Every week it was transfer Tuesdays because usually Mondays are bank holidays. Nothing happens. So I said every Tuesday I put an automatic transfer in my bank account that sent to my credit card or to this balance transfer or whatever it was, $40. Well, easy math, 40 times 4, $160. You know that's more than the minimum payment that was due, right? So
Right.
I knew I was didn't have to worry about when the bill comes in, I don't have to worry about paying it because I've already paid it because the minimum payment is already there at that
Right.
$160. And if it's 5 weeks, woohoo, that's even more money. So every week I'm sending $40. I don't miss $40 out of my account. Who would miss $40 every single week out of your account? Nobody would. And then every week the balance was going down. So anytime that my credit score was being checked for that account, the balance was always going down. So that was always helping my credit score. So I had that going for me as well. And I knew at the end of that X amount of week period when my balance transfer was going to be due. And you know what happens with that, especially if you did like my Lowe's card. It's same as cash, just like Rent-A-Center from years ago. If you didn't pay it, you paid all that deferred interest. So
Right.
I was going to be darn sure that I wasn't going to pay any interest. So having that plan, I knew that I was going to get it all paid off before the promotion ended and no fees, no nothing. And at $40 a week, that was easy.
So breaking it up into more
Right.
manageable chunks, but
Right.
also being able to um, pay more than, because obviously a lot of companies are going to say, hey, we're going to bank that most of we'll give you the promotional and this, but
Yes.
most people don't save or pay off the actual debt itself
Right.
before that promotional period is, and then not realizing they signed on the dotted line with blood that, hey, by the time we get to that piece, we're also going to charge you all the interest that should have been accrued at that point. So
Right.
it's and it's funny, we say it right, but you're saying there's a plan. Here's how you actually can execute on that to be able to pay off those debts within that period of time, and obviously use it just in general to be able to, like, if I want to pay down, if I'm doing it weekly, it feels less impactful than trying to do it all at once.
Yeah,
Right.
and there's a bunch. So I'm on the website right now. So if you're listening and you're interested, go to weeklydebtplan.com. That's Nancy's website, and her email address is nancy@weeklydebtplan.com. But I'm on the Weekly Debt Plan website right now, and there's a ton of information on here. It talks about all the different services you provide. You have a membership structure. There is a journal, a financial journal, which I assume tracks weekly. Your credit card debt tracker, credit score monitor, money movement tracker, goal setting. And I love the what you'll discover, how much of your paycheck has already gone before you touch it, patterns you never noticed in your spending, a
Right.
clear path to from where you are to where you want to be, feel less stressed, hidden money leaks, real progress tracking, money you didn't know you had, large upcoming bills.
Hold on. I'm writing these out. These
I
are great
know.
episodes to
Well,
be
no, no,
listening
no.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So remember,
Yeah.
weeklydebtplan.com. You
Yeah.
can find it all again.
We got it here.
There's also a resources page, a contact page. So the website is amazing. So if you're interested in finding out more about Nancy, it's weeklydebtplan.com. But is it so? And we were talking about this pre recording, is that to call it a debate is probably not really the accurate
You
phrase.
won, Sean. We get it.
No, because it's a debate I'm having with my mom. So I don't want to say I
Oh,
beat
that
my
she
mom.
definitely won.
Yeah, I'm sure she won. So my mom is the type of person, she still uses a paper journal, and she literally pays the bill within days of it coming in, where I save everything up and pay it at the end of the month. Now, your strategy of the weekly debt plan is a little bit different because my mom is paying off the card every month. She's paying off the bill every month, as am I, or as am I. She's doing it every week. I'm doing it every month. Your plan is slightly different in that it's a debt that you are paying down just on a weekly basis instead of a monthly basis.
Well, okay, so let me yeah, yes and no. So when that bill comes in for your electricity bill, you got to pay it. It's a once a month thing. So using the weekly process is more towards something that it's a larger bill that you can do in smaller chunks. But
Got it.
yes, I'm that kind of person where my trash bill comes in, I I get it, I go into my app, I send my payment over there, and I don't have to think about it. Because the last thing that people want to have is that late fee. But you have a system, and that's the most important part is having a system. And I know George is the same way of working
Hmm.
with his clients is you if you have a system. So your system, Sean, is that every 15 days you're making sure that your bills get paid of your business and in your personal life.
Right.
Your mom, her system is when the bill comes in, she gets it paid, it's off her mind, she doesn't have to think about it. Now, for those people who might not have much money sitting in their account, their system might be a little bit different. Now, I know there's a lot of people who have that personal threshold of how much money they like to have in their bank account at any given point in time. So that's another thing too. So having the right system, that's why, $40 a week is nothing when I know that I would always have money coming through at different times of the month. So I always had that money and I didn't have to think about it.
Right.
So for the right, so for the easy bills, I mean, like with the mortgage, you can't do that weekly just because, it's usually set up where it's a fixed payment, you know when it's coming out, and there's that. So when you are trying to pay down a bill, the weekly process really can help.
So when we talk about, I mean, you talked about some of the improvements someone can have when they're on the weekly. What are some of the other, kind of benefits that people can have when it comes to, putting these kind of payments, these kind of things on a weekly basis? But the other thing too is like, what if I don't? What are some of the things that I could be experiencing? So I'm going to say negative and positive. Like, what are some of the positives, other positives when it comes to your weekly planner? And if you're not doing it, what are some of the things that you probably are experiencing today?
Well, with car payments these days, they're higher than they used to be.
Yeah.
And let's just do easy math. You have a $400 car payment. If every Tuesday, transfer Tuesday, you're sending $100 to a savings account.
Mm,
Every week you're sending $100. And then on the 25th of the month, because your bill is due on the 5th, on the 25th of the month, $400 is sent over to your car payment company. Your bill is paid. And guess what? That 400, or let's just say it's $800, doesn't all of a sudden get poof pulled out of that your main checking account, and then you all of a sudden have a heart attack going, "Oh my God, I got $200 left in my bank account."
right.
So if you have that large bill, that is a benefit for that. So same thing with, I pay my property tax, same thing. I can move that money out every single week, and then when the bill comes, it's out of the savings account, and I don't see it coming out of the main checking account. And that's where I think the people have those palpitations going, "Oh my gosh, I have this big bill that I have to pay." And
Right.
all this, because we feel like we have to save, 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 save for this big bill that comes out once or twice a year. And, you're freaking out going, "How am I going to pay this bill?" But if you've tucked it away, just like an emergency fund, same kind
Yeah.
of concept, except for it's a specific sinking fund for a larger expense.
So what popped into my mind was if I put all this money in a savings account and so it's set it and forget it,
Hmm.
and then the savings account pays the bill every month,
Yep.
then under girl math, it's free.
Sorry, we had a social media episode and this guy is still, so yeah,
I still don't understand girl math.
boy math can do that too, brother. So, but again, it's funny how you had mentioned it, right? Putting certain money into savings accounts or other than your checking. It's funny nowadays you can actually have automatic debits coming out of savings accounts as well. So it's a good plan to kind of like if you feel like the discipline is not completely there and you need
Right.
your accounts to kind of help you really manage some of these, it's a great way to kind of like, okay, this account is specifically for my car or even the mortgage or even, and they have routing numbers, they have account, you can
Hmm.
have a bank, automatic bank transfer
Right.
happen for those type of purchases. So I love the idea. And again, you kind of hinted to it, right? Like put it into another savings that's specific to that. One, it avoids the spending, right? You're like, oops,
Yep.
I didn't. Oh man, I spent that money, but it was meant for this. But it also, I hate to say set it and forget it, but automatic transfer. I love that. What was it? Transfer Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays, kind of thing. I love that.
Transfer Tuesdays, Taco Thursdays.
Love it. All right. So, and again, we'll have some $40 set aside for Taco Thursday. So I like that. So, right, but you automatic transfer, put it into the account, automatic withdrawal once a month.
Yep.
I hate to say set it and forget it. It's just no, you have a system in place that allows to say,
Right.
this will always be paid each month without worry about am I going to spend that money on something else. So I love that.
Well, and again, those people that are looking at their bank account on a daily or at least weekly basis, they see the money's out, and so they're not tempted to spend it.
Right. No, and that,
So
well, I mean, most of us, our debit cards are tied to the checking. So I agree. You see the money, you get this false sense of, oh, there's money. Of course I can buy this, this water or go see Sean Yesner and at the bar for some bourbon. It just happens. So, but I like the idea that, again, just different ways to handle reduces your stress. It reduces some of the anxiety. You still got to pay the bill. So I don't know if it's completely eliminating some of that anxiety, but
Right.
at least how you're going to do it gets managed because now you have a system in place. Love it.
Right. Because you have anxiety when you look at your bank account and that checking account number starts to get underneath your personal threshold. And again, you have that $600-800 car payment nowadays. Um, you don't it is that one is totally girl math. That it's being it is being paid, but it's not coming out of your checking account in one bill at the wrong time of your money. It's not the wrong time of the month, it's the wrong time of your money
Mm,
because money's coming and going. And like you said, you're going out with drinks with Sean, and all of a sudden, you had too many drinks, and that was a big charge. And your
well,
car payment's
Sean's
coming out
paying, so it's
tomorrow.
okay.
If your car
Patreon's
payment's coming out
paying.
tomorrow and you don't have enough money to cover it,
Right,
guess what? It's going to bounce.
right,
And you can open up as many savings or check. Well, you can do checking accounts too, but like you said, savings accounts, just make another savings account for each sinking fund that you want.
right,
And as long as you already have the account, it doesn't matter. You can just go online, say, "Hey, I want to open up a new account." Rename it, nickname it to whatever you want.
right.
Boom, you're done. Start your transfer Tuesdays, set it up, set it, forget it. And what I liked about what I was talking about, the bill is due on the 5th, but you transfer it out on the 25th so that it gives enough time for processing and so forth. But also, too, when you have 5 Tuesdays, there's always that extra buffer that's sitting in that account.
Gotcha. So
So
it doesn't matter if it's, extra week or extra, whatever it might be.
it just
Stay
sits there.
consistent with the process because it's an automatic transfer. So it's going to be it's going to be consistent
Right.
regardless of month or
Right.
whatever it
And
might
you're
be.
never going to be
Gotcha.
under because you have those 5 Tuesday
Yep.
months.
Yep.
You
Yep.
might have to fund it a few $100s extra in the beginning, but no big deal. And if it gets overfunded, then transfer it out. And so
Right.
what?
If it gets overfunded, then that's either you can pay down that debt even faster,
Right. More.
or you can reallocate that money to
Yep.
another debt or buying Christmas presents, or
Yeah.
we're this episode's coming out in April. We're just after St. Patrick's Day, and in a couple of weeks we'll all be Mexican for Cinco de
Yeah,
Mayo,
baby.
so you can use it for that.
I love it. I love it. Let me ask this for you guys. Where do we overcomplicate? Where do people overcomplicate this process? Where do we, where do some of the common mistakes when it comes to, either the starting point or, when they're in the process of the program, like where do people overcomplicate some of this?
We don't get statements, we don't have a checkbook, and we now have debit cards. So I don't know if that's the overcomplication, but there's so many ways to move our money now and take money out, and we're not paying attention.
So obviously paying attention, being aware is going to help you
Yes.
really keep you in that on top of things. I would agree in some cases, we overcomplicate because we have multiple savings accounts, we have multiple spreadsheets, we have multiple for me it's like it's we re-engineer or over-engineer some of the solutions sometimes
Yeah.
And again, that might work for Sean because he's brilliant, right? But for me, I might be more like, okay, keep it simple, simple buckets, keeping certain things where I can track things, but it's not overly engineered and 50, spreadsheets that try to talk to each other or, programs that like,
Right.
everybody loves QuickBooks that it's like, what is this doing and how is this doing? So if you got to find the system and the process that works for you. And I think that
Right.
like for me, if I'm getting anxiety because of the program, we got to change the program. We got to try and do something different.
So I use QuickBooks for the law firm.
I'm
and
Mhm.
sorry.
and it works for what I need. I use Excel for personally. I
Hmm.
have my entire checkbook on an Excel spreadsheet, and
Love it.
that's what I use. What used to drive me crazy was when my wife would um, spend based on what the app said was in the bank account. And I'm like, honey, there's checks outstanding that have not yet hit the bank account. You don't have. My mom calls me all the time and says, the bank says I have X in my bank account, but my checking account says I have less than that. And I'm like, Mom, that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be the other way
The other
around.
way around, we got
I
problems.
wouldn't want your checkbook to say you got all this money in it, the bank to say, no, you actually got less.
Right.
So, but I don't know. One thing you said that kind of resonated with me now that we're in this place where, yeah, most of my checks are, most of my expenses are taken out of my checking account automatically. Some for the law firm as well. They just come out. And I'm not really writing paper checks anymore personally. I do for the law firm, but personally, I don't write out paper checks anymore. So I wonder,
It's very,
I
it's
want,
very rare that
you're
I
calling
just
me
do.
old.
No, I have a checkbook, but I think I have my checks are from like a house I lived in 4 houses
Yeah.
ago. Like it's pretty bad.
I,
Like I don't
I
write
don't
many.
I don't have checks anymore.
Oh,
Everything personally goes through online banking, ACH, whatever.
that makes sense.
But I don't know. I mean, I guess how dangerous is it if you're not writing checks, if you're using online bill pay to write those checks? Although I guess it is, as I ask this question, I'm answering my own stupid question. Because when you use bill pay, the check goes out, but I think the bank actually takes it out of your account when the check is sent,
Right away.
not when the check is cashed.
Correct.
So you still have. My point is, I wonder if it's less likely today that my wife would bounce checks because you're not writing paper checks anymore. The
Hmm.
money is kind of coming out immediately. I think it's those automatic payments you got to kind of watch out for.
Right.
But it's not, and that's what irritates me is that if I say, "Hey, I want to schedule a payment to send to my credit card," it does not go into my bank account and say, "Hey, Nancy, you have $100 debit that's going to be going out." But yet, if I use my debit card immediately, it says it's been taken out of my account. So you still have that mental math of I just sent a payment to my credit card or to my whatever. And like with my lawn care guy, as soon as I get that bill, I pay that immediately because they send a paper check to him. And
No. Okay.
it by the time that
Takes
they
time.
he gets the check and he deposits it, it's about 2 weeks. That's why, he sends me the bill at the first of the month. I pay it immediately because it takes 2 weeks to get to him. So all of a sudden, I look in my bank account and boom, there's that check that cleared. But again, it's that mental math, just like what you were talking about. Your wife would write checks. It's that mental math of, hey, we can't spend all of this because we have this check pending. So that,
Right.
unfortunately, that is still something that's out there, even though we're asking the bank and we're telling them to take this much money out of our account, they don't make it pending.
Right.
So there's still that anxiety of, oh crap, I've got this pending amount coming out of my account.
Well, one of the other ways that I try to prevent that from happening is when I do my budget at the beginning of the month, when I do my bills at the beginning of the month, I always make sure that I leave a cushion.
Yeah, always.
So in
Yeah.
case an emergency comes up, in case I have to run to the grocery store more than I anticipate, in case this, in case that, and I make sure I have a couple of $100 cushion float in the checking account just in case.
Yeah, I always remind or at least recommend to my clients, in the beginning we want to start your what's your zero? right? You don't want zero in your checking account. Your zero could be $500.
Right.
Your
Right.
zero could be $1,000. That's the kind of the goals you want to get to, where there's money there buffered just in case. So it's not like going into the emergency fund right away. You have something in the checking account that allows you to have that buffer. I even leave buffers for groceries. Grocery prices are going up. Gas prices
Gas
are going up.
prices.
So I can estimate, I think I'm going to spend $200. And then all of a sudden I look at the gas pump and it's now $4 a gallon. Dude, I'm filling up my daughter's car. It was like she used to be $25. Now it's 50. I'm like,
Yeah.
girl, you're not driving.
No, it
You
used
just
to be.
sit there.
Yeah, I used to spend around $30 filling up my car. Now it's like 45, $50 to
So
fill up
that
my
so
car.
leave. I love the ideas, right? Leave buffers not only in the account but also in your budget, so that because we know we're not perfect. This is not about perfection, right? This is about trying to have an understanding and awareness of what you're spending each month. So I think those are great tips to be able to say, hey, try to leave yourself some room because again you're gonna get something's gonna come up. Life is gonna life.
Right.
And I do want to mention one of the things on the website, the financial journal. I'm a big journal guy. I love journaling. But you've got on your website a financial journal. I see the 2026 version. Those of you watching on Patreon, the 2026 version is there over your shoulder. Weekly worksheets and prompts to track income, spending, and payments. Optional integration with financial coaching, the weekly debt management plan, mini lessons on staying consistent and motivated. So absolutely something we would want you to check out if you have questions about tracking and all that kind of stuff.
I love it. I love it. Like, love idea and great way to, again, you always say encourage writing, encourage, kind of talking through. For me, if you don't write it down, I feel like it's not real. So I think those are the things that we
Right.
want to we want to kind of encourage. And I love the fact that you have that, on your website. Again, a little plug there. Go for it.
And you know what? It's if you're very tactile people, and when you see it in black and white, and you see that, again, I'm a numbers geek. You
Right.
start seeing the trends, but I want my clients to see the trends to say, "Oh, my credit card's going up or my credit card's going down." You need to see that
Mm-hmm.
in order to have that aha moment for yourself too.
I love it, love it. And do your clients, like most people I still feel people, spreadsheets are great. Some people love the technology, but writing, people still have that direction towards writing stuff down and seeing it on
Right.
paper.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a
And
big
then you
journal
can
guy.
go back and reflect and look at, like I said, look at the numbers.
Love it.
And we don't get paper statements anymore. So
Everything's
that's what's nice
digital.
about it. And you can take this with you if you're, somewhere you're waiting in the car line or whatever, you want to run some numbers, or you want to have a date night with your partner and talk about your finances.
Love it.
It's take it with you and discuss numbers.
Get off my yard. That's the old man in me,
I
but yeah, I
I
love
was
it.
thinking that's what a great date night. Let's go out and have dinner and talk about our finances.
Don't do it on the first date. That's
No,
what I would recommend. But yeah, if you're, with your spouse, maybe that's a great idea.
I agree with your spouse. It's a great idea. For the first date, probably would not
You
get you a
might not
second.
get you a second date, that's for sure.
No.
Love it, man.
So, anything else that we didn't mention? Anything you want to talk about, Nancy?
Now, it's just small steps. Small steps make big results, and that's the thing is having a system and repeating it. It's the small habits that you have, and finding the system that works right for you is the most important thing.
Right.
Love it.
Right.
Financial literacy month, and that seems like a good
Good
way
start.
to
Financial literacy
great
month.
job, Nancy.
So again, if you want to contact Nancy, it's Nancy at weeklydebtplan.com. Definitely check out her website, which is weeklydebtplan.com. I love it when they have the same email signature as the website.
It would be ideal, but again, I'm a starter, so I can't, nothing's consistent.
I wasn't really a dig at you.
It's
I
always a dig on me, bro.
I forgot that your website and your email were totally different. But again, Nancy at weeklydebtplan.com or weeklydebtplan.com. I'll put that in the notes.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely check it out. There's a ton of resources, a ton of great resources on the website. Anything else, Nancy?
No, just take
And
it one
Nancy
day at a
takes the
time. And
title. Nancy, you take the title. Great financial coach. That's it. Great, great one. Even on this episode, love it.
thank you. Thank
You,
you.
you want a job as a co-host of a podcast, Nancy?
Wow, I got bumped off that quick. All right, there. Hello.
So I do want to mention that you can support us by going to patreon.com/crushing debt. You'll see the behind the scenes video. I'm wearing my purple My Legacy Strider Purple Stride t-shirt. And again, the Purple Stride Walk is coming up at the end of April. Definitely join us for that. Or if you're listening in some other state, find the Purple Stride Walk near you. Go support them.
Absolutely.
They would love to have your support, whether it's volunteering, whether it's money, whatever it is. I'm sure they would absolutely love to have your support wherever you live. Thanks again, Nancy Ward, for being a guest this week. Again, I said it a bunch of times, but weeklydebtplan.com. And you know what? I almost heard Nancy say our line.
Ooh, there you go. Well,
So what we say, Nancy, at the end of every episode is we hope you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. And I almost heard you say it, and I was going to yell at you, but you didn't. So So there you
I
go.
like it though.
Thanks again, Nancy Ward. And I think that will wrap up this week's episode, and we will talk to you in next week's episode of the podcast.
Thanks again for having me on.